করছি। মাগো তোমার ডাকে দেব সাড়া, আমি জানি মাগো জানি চোখ মিলিলাম তোমার আমার জগৎ জেগে উঠলো তোমায় চোখ মিলিলাম আমার জগৎ জেগে উঠলো তোমায় আমি হেসে
Practice. Yeah, 2:30, so I can ask Shruti to say. No, I can ask Shruti to say now, but you have to start at 2:30. I'm just wondering. I don't know. Your choice.
না সত্যি করতে
Correct.
আমি গান গাবো আমি বড় বড় সিঙ্গার করে
Doesn't matter. How is this? Just start. Don't talk.
বাজাবো
Yes.
তুমি এটা নেবে
No.
না
It also.
শোনা না বিষয়
আমার দিকে
I'm off. I'm getting off.
Whatever.
ঠিক আছে
Okay. All right. So now the devotional song by Sharmila ji will start.
Yeah, sure.
But she has asked me to sing a song.
Sure.
So I will sing one song that I am singing in memory of Vinaya.
Sure.
Okay, and it's in tune with what Shashi just sang. So it's basically asking the Lord to be in my heart. And in seeking that, I am making a mistake. And that is why I am asking your forgiveness. Which also seeks forgiveness from the Lord.
Extended
Because we are
full brightness
ignorant.
extend
We are in pain in some kind of loss, which we should not be. So this song is seeking the forgiveness from the Lord. This weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. This weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. If ever on my way I fall behind, this weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. If ever on my way I fall behind, this weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. This trembling in my heart that shakes me so today. This trembling in my heart that shakes me so today. This aching pain, forgive, oh Lord, forgive, oh Lord, forgive, oh Lord, forgive. If ever on my way I fall behind, this weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. This poor faint heart, forgive me, oh my Lord. If ever I cast a longing look behind, this poor faint heart, forgive me, oh my Lord. If ever I cast a longing look behind, scorching heat of day withers my red flower. Scorching heat of day withers my red flower. Its faded hue, forgive, oh Lord, forgive, oh Lord, forgive, oh Lord, forgive. If ever on my way I fall behind, this weariness, forgive me, oh my Lord. Pote jodi pichiye pori Prabhu, Janti ama jyoti vichiye bori prabhu Ranti ama kama karo prabhu Ei jehiya tharo tharo tabe adi amor karo Ei jehiya tharo tharo tabe adi amor karo Ei kiruna kama karo Vichal pane takai jodi Vinota amakaro prabhu Vichal pane takai jodi Diner tape roshrajai Shutai mana pujar thalai Diner tape roshrajai Shutai mana pujar thalai Shimla nota Ramagaru This weariness, forgive me, oh my God. If ever on my way, I walk behind. This weariness, forgive me, oh my God.
Yeah. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat. So just like morning, I will just chant half the verse. You can just repeat the 3 verses. You can please repeat. Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi
Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi
Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti
Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti
Dhanam damascha yagyascha
Dhanam damascha yagyascha
Swadhyayastapa arjavam
Svadhyayastapa
Ahimsa satyam krodha
Ahimsa satyam krodha
Tyaga shantirapaishunam
Tyaga shantiravaishunam
Daya bhuteshvalo luptam
Daya bhuteshvaro luptam
Mardavam hri achapalam
Madhavam nivachapalam
Teja kshama dhriti shaucham
Tejashama bhiti shaucham
Adroho natimanita
Atroho nati matita
Bhavanti sampadam devim
Bhavanti sampadam devim
Abhijatasya bharata.
Abhijatasya bharata.
So Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti Dhanam. In the morning, we have discussed till these four qualities. So as we have seen that Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti are extremely difficult to achieve, and only the Paramahansas get perfection in that. But afterwards, the qualities which are there, Dhanam, etc., we all can and we all should try very hard to practice in our lives, because each one of these are extremely important. These should be taken very seriously if we are concerned about our spiritual life. So Dhanam, we have seen that in Dhanam, we have to see it should be according to the scriptural rules and according to one's own ability. So Dhanam damascha yagyascha. So Dhamma is the next quality. Orijit.
Thank you.
So now we come to Dhamma. See, Dhamma and Shama, these two go together. Those who are acquainted with our scriptures know, they are familiar with these terms, Shama and Dhamma. So Dhamma is mentioned here first. What is Dhamma? Dhamma is Bahya Indriya Sanyama. So this needs a little explanation. Sanyama is control. Bahya is external. Indriya means sense organs. So the control of the external organs. Now we have two types of organs. They are called external organs and internal organs. They are also called organs of action and organs of knowledge. So the name suggests what they are. Organs of action, hand, legs, through which we act. These are 5. You can just see. And next comes organs of knowledge, through which we gain knowledge. So ears, nose, sense of taste, eyes, all these are organs of knowledge. So this is called Bahya Indriya, where they are external, so to say. And these are organs of knowledge is called Antar Indriya, which is organs inside, so to say. So here Dhamma, now all these organs have to be controlled. Actually, to one who has controlled all the organs, self-knowledge is very near. Because what takes us out, what takes the mind out is when we try to satisfy the cravings of the organs. That is why Swami Vivekananda has gone so far as to say, this is the curse of the world, these organs. Because he says the organs draws the human soul out. And man is searching for happiness where it can never be found. So suddenly when we are sitting quietly, oh, yesterday what a wonderful ice cream I had eaten. The taste comes. Oh, meditation will be there afterwards. Let me go and have an ice cream. So this is what is called the craving of the organs. And this craving, the scriptures say, can never be satisfied. By Jesus or Bible also, Jesus has said, the eyes don't tire of seeing, the ears don't tire of hearing, the nose doesn't tire of smelling. Because if it was to be satisfied, it would have been satisfied by all these things we are experiencing. But what happens? We eat an ice cream once. That memory is there in the brain. That I had a pleasant sensation. Then when we return home after some days, that memory awakens. Maybe somebody is having a discussion or something. As soon as the memory awakens, we want that experience again. Then that impression in the mind becomes firm. It is, just like suppose there is some clay, you make a line on that. But again, if you remember that willingly, you make the line again. So that impression again comes. When you eat the ice cream, that line becomes firmer, deeper. So rather than diminishing, the search for sense pleasures keeps on increasing when we enjoy. That is why it is said in the scriptures that it is like pouring all oil on fire. So once we desist, suppose we say, no, 6 months, I won't have any ice cream. That kind of ice cream which I enjoy. Then we will feel, when we will experience that craving does not exist anymore. So addiction fosters and encourages addiction. That is the thing. You can never get rid of smoking by continuously smoking. You have to leave it. So slowly, those impressions will get finer and finer, and they will go down into the subconscious. So this is the method of controlling the organs. So not only the external organs, it is comparatively easy to control the external organs. We don't go about running here and there, or whatever we do with our hands, we don't go about. It is comparatively easy. But it is extremely difficult to control the inner organs because they are very subtle. We will discuss that. The control of inner organs is also mentioned in these verses. So Dhamma is comparatively easier because it is control of the external organs, which is called Bahya Indriya Sanyama. So again, we go to the Gyaneshwari where beautiful simile is given. It says that just as a warrior cuts the head of his enemy with his sword in one stroke, one who cuts the association of his sense organs with the Vishayas is one who has achieved perfection in this control of the organs. So with one stroke, people cut the head of their enemies in war, etc. Similarly, we are supposed to cut our association with the sense objects in one stroke. But for us, it is not possible because through our bad habits, we have made such a habit that we have made the enjoyments of these objects the aim of our life. So we go on the same thing. We never try to seriously give up. We keep repeating those habits. That is not the way. So Dhamma is Bahya Indriya Sanyama. This will go on for now. We will discuss it in detail when we go to the control of the inner organs. So Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha. Yagya again is a very big topic. But we will just deal with it briefly. In the Gita also, elsewhere it is mentioned in very great detail. They're continuously talking, somebody. She's talking on the phone, I think. difficult to keep the children quiet. So Danam Damascha Yagyascha. Yagya means sacrifice. So again, as I said, in the Gita also, it has been mentioned separately. It is quite a big topic. So we will just discuss it briefly. What is sacrifice? See here, our scriptures say that each of us is dependent upon something or the other for not only our needs, but our life itself. We need the help of so many things to simply exist. Like, we don't realize it. So man gradually learns, scriptures say, that he is not a separate entity or an isolated creature or isolated unit, but is a part of a greater whole. So we study. We study by, how do we study? We study either by books or with the help of our teachers. We study the scriptures with the help of rishis and all. Previously, the students used to go. There was a hermitage. They used to live with their teacher. We get so much help from our friends, relatives, fellow human beings, and our body is nourished by so many things, all that we eat: milk, grain, vegetables, fruits. And the 5 elements help us: earth, water, fire, in all kinds. We know that we cannot even live without oxygen and water. In one day, oxygen in a few minutes, and without water in a few days. And our scriptures also say that the devas, the gods, and our pitris, pitri means forefathers, they bless us. So actually in Indian mythology, all these elements are identified with smaller gods. That in Vedas, we say that Vayu is the god of air. Varuna, Indra, all these are minor gods. They control the elements. So we are indebted to all these things. Now, scriptures say, if we don't give anything in return, we will be parasites. We'll be only taking. And one who only wants to take, there is no place for him in the universe. So since we are taking, we are indebted to them. And we must pay back this debt by performing 5 kinds of sacrifices. That is called Pancha Mahayagya. So in Gita, this 5th one is mentioned separately. So here we will just discuss the 4, and the 5th one is given separately, which we'll see. So various kinds of sacrifices are mentioned in our scriptures for all kinds of people. Some sacrifices are done with a motive. Like it is given in the scriptures that Swarga Kamo Yajeta. Swarga Kama means one who wants heaven. If I want to go to heaven, I must perform sacrifices. The gods will be pleased and they will take me to heaven. There is nothing wrong in that, mind you. There is nothing wrong. We will discuss all this in detail later. So, and another type of yagyas are mentioned, that whether you want anything or not, you have to do those, because you have to repay a debt to all these things from which you get help from. So many kinds of sacrifices are mentioned in the Vedas. Some are with a motive, some are done with a motive, like going to heaven, or every type of yajna is there. If you want crops, if you don't have rains, for that there is a sacrifice. If you want a sun, for that there is a sacrifice. And there is nothing wrong in that on a lower level. But some sacrifices are there which you have to do. That is your duty. What are those? Those are called Pancha Mahayagya. So first is Deva Yagya. You have to worship God, the gods, all the gods who are in charge of the elements. Then it's called Pitri Yagya, worship of the forefathers. Then the Bhuta Yagya, that is the worship of the elements. And the Manushya Yagya, which is offering to human beings. So these have to be done every day in some form of the other, so that you can repay what you are getting. And another is Brahma Yajna, which is given here separately under Swadhyaya. So what is Deva Yajna? Recognizing the debt due to those who guide nature, and the feeding of them by offering ghee and uncooked grains into the fire. So in olden times, in Vedic times, actually what was there, that every person, every householder had a small yagya kunda, what we do in the homa. Everybody had that. And they did those sacrifices every day. So this is Deva Yajna, by offering ghee and uncooked rice grains into the fire. Next is Pitri Yajna. Pitri Yajna, some cakes were made. They were offered to our forefathers. That is paying the debt to our forefathers. Then Bhuta Yajna, placing food offerings, etc. on the ground, feeding animals, etc. Sometimes we give grains to birds, etc. So we should do it with the attitude of Yajna, that we are getting so many things, we should give these back in return. And the last one, which is the most important in this age, that is Manushya Yajna. Because man is the highest being on earth. Man means human beings. Human beings are the highest being on earth. Only in a human body, God realization is possible. So they are the highest stage of evolution. From the amoeba, right? We have been evolving. So feeding human beings or helping them in any way is the highest yajna. So feeding guests and the poor, the hungry, giving food to those who want, giving shelter to the homeless, comforting the distressed, all these fall under yajna, which is synonymous with dana. So any kind of suffering, any kind of service to those who are suffering, those who are in need, human beings, that comes under Manushya Yajna. So these, each householder has to do every day in some form or the other to repay the debt which we owe to so many things and so many persons in the world. So 5 types of yajna is generally mentioned. So in this Gita, in this verse, it has been divided under 2 qualities. Danam, damascha, yajnascha, swadhyaya. So by some people, swadhyaya is included in the sacrifice. Swadhyaya is called Brahma Yajna, worshipping Brahman, worshipping the Almighty. So this Swa Adhyaya, that Adhyayana means study. And Swadhyaya means studying the scriptures. Not studying any novel or anything like that. Studying the scriptures which tell us the way to God. Like the Vedas or the Gita or the Upanishads or the Bible or Zenda Vesta or teachings of Buddha, anything. All these fall under scriptures. So our scriptures themselves say that these kinds of scriptural study, they produce 2 kinds of effects. One is the direct effect, that we know about God from them. We know how to attain God. We try to practice it. And another is that it creates something known as adrishta. In Sanskrit, drishta means what is seen. Adrishta means what is not seen. So these scriptural studies create adrishta, means they create some fruit, some form of good, some merit is stored, which is adrishta, means which you don't see, but it is there, like some balance in the bank. So when the time comes, those merits will come to us if we want them. If we don't want any merit, that is the best of all. It is completely unselfish. So this is the one of the Pancha Mahayagya also. This is called Swadhyaya or the Brahma Yajna. So Swami Vivekananda has told, repeating the Vedas and other mantras by which our mind is purified is called study or Swadhyaya. So how should we go about that? So regarding that, Swami Vivekananda said, give up all argumentation and other distractions. Is there anything in dry intellectual jargon? It only throws the mind off its balance and disturbs it. Things of subtler planes have to be realized. Will talking do that? So give up all vain talk. Read only those books which have been written by persons who have had that realization. So three things he mentioned. First is give up all argumentation and other distractions. So whenever we start, unfortunately, so many devotees I've seen, as soon as they start studying a little, they say, Swamiji, this person, I was talking to this person, he does not admit the Vedas. I had a long argument. That person, I was talking, he does not believe in God, I had so much, I tried to convince him in so many ways. Nothing, no effect. Who asked you to convince him? So this is a big problem that we go on trying to make everybody Paramahansas except ourselves. That is the biggest problem. He has got his own sanskaras. He has got his own impressions. You and I, how can they change it? And suppose he does start believing in God, how will that help you? If he asks, suppose he comes to you, he asks, you can guide. Okay, whatever no, I tell you, you can read complete, you can read works of saints and sages, you can read the Bible, you can read the Vedas, you can read the Upanishads, you can read the Gita. But what he will take after reading depends upon him. We cannot do anything about it. Nobody can do except God. So rather than argue with somebody and disturb our mind, just pray for that person so that he can progress in his own path. Don't try to interfere in anybody's progress. God is there to take care of everybody. This is one thing. And secondly, the same point Swami Vivekananda says, second point, is there anything in dry intellectual jargon? You may study, you may become a scholar. Like, again, permit me to state my own experience in this regard. When I was in school, so we never studied seriously before, no? Where do we get the chance to study all these seriously? We are busy with our studies and all that. So when I first studied Swami Vivekananda, was simply, my whole life was turned upside down. That it is so fantastic, unbelievable. Then I started reading a little of Shankaracharya. So I said to one monk whom I used to visit at Advaita Ashram, I said, these things are there. Why don't we tell everybody it's a fantastic, it's an unbelievable thing. We should go about broadcasting. So he said, do you think nobody knows about all this? Each philosophical course in colleges, they have all this. They study Shankaracharya, they study Ramanuja, everything. But there is no change in their life. Why? They study because they want to get a degree. They want to get a philosophical degree. They don't really believe in that what Shankaracharya said or Vivekananda said. We have to memorize these things, and when the exam comes, just write down. That's all. That is called intellectual study. So Swami Vivekananda says, intellectual study will not help us only, because we don't have faith in them. These people say that this is the course which you should follow in your life. Each philosophy is a systematic plan through which we have to guide our lives in that way. But if you don't believe, then even reading the whole history of Indian and Western philosophy also will not help us. So first is convince yourself first before trying to convince others, if at all you try to. Second is, don't study these things with just an intellectual viewpoint. These are practical things. Try to apply them in your own life, otherwise there'll be no use. And third thing is, don't read anything and everything you can lay hands on. They will disturb you. Because each man in the world has his own philosophy. And people are so fond of giving lectures and writing books. Little they will study, they will write a book, publicize it in the whole world. And now, of course, no problem is there. YouTube is free. Say whatever you want, post it and give a catchy title and all that, and confuse everybody. So if we go into this without any help, hear everything and everything, we will just keep on shuttling from one end to another. One person will say something, next person will contradict it, third person will say another thing. So don't go about confusing our brains. Read only those persons who know what they are talking about. Read Jesus, read Buddha, read Ramakrishna, read Tulsidas, read Saint Francis of Assisi, read Saint Paul, read them. Not anyone and everyone. Because many people do these things with an ulterior motive, unfortunately. And those minds which seek return from this, they have not grasped anything. So better to stay away. This is the third thing which Swami Vivekananda says. This is the pattern to follow for Swadhyaya or scriptural study, because everything comes under study. If you hear something, that is also study. And again another, we will go back again to Gyaneshwari, again a wonderful simile he gives. What is the need for this kind of study or Swadhyaya? So the great saint says, just as one needs a lamp to find objects in the dark, or waters a tree to nourish its trunk and branches, or wipes the mirror clean in which one wants to see his reflection, similarly, one needs the help of the scriptures to know about the nature of God and how to attain him. Because the spiritual life is all darkness for us. We don't know anything, practically anything. So the scriptures which are written by saints and sages are the only guide. They are the only thing. So it is just like trying to find our way in the dark. We need a lamp. That lamp is the scriptures. So beautiful example by the great saint Gyaneshwar. So abhayam sattva sanshuddhi jnana yoga vyavastitihi danam damascha yagyascha swadhyaya tapa. Now we come to tapa. Again, tapa is of various kinds, which has been described in the Gita. So here we will just have a very brief idea. We will see details we can see later. So tapas is simply translated is austerity. Any kind of austerity. Austerity, but it is something which is performed deliberately. Austerity, generally, what do we think? That austerity is just giving, making us suffer. Mind and body suffers in austerity whenever we perform anything. Like many kinds of austerities are there. Holy Mother had performed that austerity. She, in the heat of India, in that terrible heat, that is called Panchatapa. So those who have gone to Belur Math and Nilambar Babu, it is still there, that site. She had sat on a roof with the blazing sun, that is one sun, and 4 fires surrounding her, huge fires, blazing fires. So sitting in the midst of that and performing japa from sunrise till sunset. Her whole complexion had become black. The skin had been burnt. Not only she, I think Gorima or Yoginma had also accompanied her. That is one kind of. So austerity is kind of penance. But if it is done forcefully, it has no result. So it is like the difference between fasting and starving. Both is going without food. But when I starve, I don't have anything to eat. So I am not doing something deliberately. It is not self-inflicted. It is not for my spiritual progress. I can't eat because I don't eat because I can't eat. But fasting is to make the mind and body come under your control, developing the willpower. Again and again, my body says, oh, go and eat, go and eat. I say, no, I won't eat. Just to discipline, because if we keep on doing what our body dictates, we will be nowhere. So especially in many, especially in Christianity, it is very much emphasized, this fasting thing. Other religions also. In Hinduism also, we have specific days where we perform these fasts and all. So tapa is of three kinds. I'll just mention, it is mentioned in the Gita in detail. Afterwards, we can see. Of the body, mind, etc. Kaya, mana, vak. All these are there. So it is given in the 17th chapter. So tapas, actually it comes from tap. Tap means heat. So all these practices generate some kind of heat or power in the body. And this power can be used in any way we like. So there's a wonderful example in the Indian scriptures that even evil persons did tapa. Because whoever wants that power, to him it will come. In the Puranas, it is there that Hiranyakashipu, he was the father of demon king, he was the father of Prahlad. So he did terrible penances. And he had the vision of Brahma. Brahma is the firstborn who creates the universe. So that Brahma came down. So after that tremendous power was generated, he could have asked for God, or he could have asked for something else. So Hiranyakashipu, what did he ask for? He asked for immortality. May I never die. Brahma said that is not possible. My friend, anybody who is born has to die. You cannot escape that. You ask for something else. So then he asked for, some circumstances has to be fulfilled. He said, I should not die in the daytime. I should not die at night. I should not die inside the house. I should not die outside the house. I should not die by any weapon. So he thought that this is impossible to fulfill. Either I will die inside the house or I will die outside. Either I will die in the day or I will die at night. So this will never be fulfilled, these conditions, so I'll become immortal. He thought himself very intelligent. But what happened? Finally, Prahlada, his son, was born. He was a great devotee. And Narasimha, Narasimha means God in the form of a lion. The head was lion and the body was human. He appeared to kill this evil father, Hiranyakashipu. So when did he kill him? Not in the day or night. He killed him in the evening. And he did not kill him outside or inside. On the doorstep, he sat and put Hiranyakashipu on his lap and tore off his entrails. And he did not die with any weapon. He killed him with his nails. So you cannot escape death. And this kind of austerity was performed by Hiranyakashipu. But in the end, he got nothing. Because they produced a result which did not stay with him. For some years, he enjoyed. So it depends upon us whether whatever tapas we perform, it depends upon us what fruit will come to us? We perform tapa, we say that God, I don't want anything worldly, I only want you. So that tapas will generate power. We every day in life we can see that when some person says something, it doesn't have much effect. Oh yeah, okay. When another person says the same thing, maybe it has a tremendous effect. Like a simple example I will give you. We all know that example. When Swami Vivekananda stood before the parliament, what was that? One, I had gone to Hyderabad once to attend this seminar. They had called us and all. So there, the Swamiji, he asked us to do a very interesting thing. He said, "All of you stand up." So we all stood up. He said, "Start clapping." We started clapping. How much can one clap? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, then it began to die down. He said, "Hey, you fellows, what happened? Start again. Who asked you to stop? Keep on, keep on." It seemed like never ending. After 2 minutes, he said, "Now stop." We realized what 2 minutes of clapping are. And he said, Swami Vivekananda, when he stood up in the parliament, people clapped for 2 minutes. Now you know what 2 minutes are. So what was that which made them so much enthusiastic? This is the power of austerity. So this generates a power. We can utilize it in any way we like. All the evil persons also in our scriptures, they perform austerity. Ravana, Kumbhakarna. Ravan got his powers by performing austerity. And Kumbhakarna, his brother, also was there. So that Kumbhakarna, just for interest, I'm telling. So Kumbhakarna, Ravan asked for all these, power, this, that. So gods knew that this fellow will create hell on earth. So Kumbhakarna, then next Brahma went to Kumbhakarna, what do you want? They thought this brother also, if he asked for that, it will be a hell. So Brahma turned his mind around. It said. So Kumbhakarna asked that I should sleep for 6 months in a year. I should only stay awake for 6 months. But the youngest brother, Vibhishana, he also performed austerity. And he asked for devotion to God. So now Ravana, nobody likes to keep, nowhere in India, you will find anyone with the name of Ravana or Kumbhakarna. And Vibhishana is revered all over the world, all over India. Why? Because of his devotion. So all three performed austerities, penances. But what we want in return will come back to us. They will generate some power, but it depends upon us what to ask for. Swami Vivekananda himself has mentioned once in incident. They never tell about their austerities, but Swami Vivekananda has only mentioned one incident that for many days during the rainy season, for many months maybe, he would stand in neck-deep water from morning till night and continuously perform japa. It is there in his works, in a letter he writes. And then he would come and eat a little food or something. That kind of austerity they have performed, these people. That is why they could go spiritually so high. And another example of this tapa by Sant Gyaneshwar, again we'll go to him. Wonderful examples he gives. He says, incense spreads fragrance when we burn incense. And gold is purified by being subject to heat. Similarly, those practices by which the body is, as it were, heated in order to attain God are known as tapa. Beautiful example he gives. That gold is purified by heating. Similarly, if we practice self-control, tapas is what? Tapas is just practicing self-control. And the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna have given a very simple meaning to this. Swami Abhedananda says at one place that tapas is performing your spiritual practices regularly without any break in the morning, evening, at a specified time, specified number of japa, specified meditation, like that. No holiday. So that, of course, if we do, we will be performing in the Kali Yuga. That is enough tapa for us. And Sri Ramakrishna has also said that when we discuss Satyam, Satyam is there. Satya is the tapas of this age, he says. So we will see all that. So Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyaya Tapa Arjavam. This is another very, very important thing. Arjavam, from where does this word come from? In Sanskrit, Riju means straight. Riju means straight, means saral, that is simple. And the quality of being simple, that is simplicity, is Arjavam. So simple, from the English word comes simplicity. So Riju is the word for simple in Sanskrit. From Riju comes Arjavam, that is simplicity, non-crookedness. There should be no crookedness, absolute simplicity. So all the saints and sages have laid great stress on this quality. Crookedness may get us worldly things, may help us try to fool people, may make our names appear in newspaper and television and all that. But it can never, never help us to make even the least of spiritual progress is not possible. Zero. The end result will be zero. So Sri Ramakrishna has laid great stress on this. Not only this, he even describes how his parents were devoted and simple. Sri Ramakrishna says, my mother was an embodiment of simplicity. She was not worldly wise at all. She did not even know how to count money. Absolutely, just they say that embodiment of simplicity. These people can never imagine that people can be crooked, or people can tell lies, or people can appear to be what they are not. It is beyond their imagination. So again, I quote Sri Ramakrishna. He says, look, people become guileless and open-minded as a result of many austerities, many kinds of tapas they have done, and various sadhanas. One cannot attain God without simplicity. He reveals his true nature to a person who is simple and believing. Again, just permit me to give one of my experiences of childhood. So we all the big banners of advertisement and etc. are there everywhere in all cities. So we have been brought up in Calcutta, so big banners, and so we were just children then, absolute children. So there is a very famous oil, in India, that is called Dalda cooking oil. So maybe I was this high. I once saw an advertisement. Dalda is the best oil. Okay, Dalda is the best oil. So then one day I was traveling with some elders, ladies of our family, etc. So they were discussing. I still remember the young age, the shock which I received. They were discussing themselves that Dalda is a horrible oil. I still remember what shock I got, that this fellow is telling that it is the best oil, and they are telling that it is not at all a good oil. How can this be? How can these people, is it ever possible for people to lie in this way? I still remember the shock I got. So when these people, these mother of Sri Ramakrishna or other things, they encounter such world, they are horribly injured. Injured means mentally they are greatly, look what happened to Shri Ram Krishna's father. He was Shri Ram Krishna's father, he was not born in Kamarpukur. He lived in Dere. There was a village in Dere. So that zamindar, that landlord of the village was a very evil person. He told Shudiram to give a verdict, false verdict on his behalf. Shudiram is father of Shri Ram Krishna. Shudiram refused. And what did that evil-minded person do? He was the landlord, you see, they can do practically anything. He took away all that Shudiram had. His home, his property. Overnight, Shudiram became a beggar. And he had to leave that village with nothing. Luckily, he had a friend in Kamarpukur. Very good. A friend in need is a friend indeed. So he called him, gave him land, gave him a home. So in the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, it is written that when this happened, Shudiram realized the reality of the world. That this is the world. Koi kisi ka nahi hai, they say, no? Nobody is one's own. So he was very lucky to get a friend. Sometimes people don't even have that. So these simple-minded people, when they encounter such terrible things, they are very much, that helps them to get vairagya from the world and give their mind to God. And unfortunately, most of these people are fooled very easily because they believe take persons at face value. It is difficult to believe for them that people can lie, people can be crooked. So again and again they are fooled. So Swami Vivekananda said, even if that be there, he says in the complete works, even it be like that, we should try to be simple. We should not be like those who try to deceive people or, but unfortunately, simplicity is not something which we can get for the asking. Those who are crooked-minded, they think that simplicity is foolishness. For them, to convince them that simplicity is commendable is absolutely impossible. You can never do that. So it is something which is got by the grace of God. Those who have it, they are lucky. And Sri Ramakrishna said that those who have performed various austerities, only they can become simple. So it is not simple to become simple. And without simplicity, because crookedness is simply falsehood. And God is far away from any kind of falsehood. All the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna was extremely simple, including Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, poor fellow, afterwards he received so much battering and suffering. He writes in one of his letters that if anybody has realized the vanity of this world, it is I. He got so much suffering. So many people deceived him, cheated him, all that was there. So Raja Maharaj Swami Brahmananda, he was so simple, just like a child. Once it is there in the gospel, Sri Ramakrishna, when he was seeing Raja Maharaj, Sri Ramakrishna burst into tears. He said, you are so simple. What will happen to you after I have gone? Who will take care of you? Anybody will lead you anywhere and you will go. They are just like children. Their heart is so pure. Children, if you tell him that I am your uncle, come with me, they will come. They are so pure-hearted. So these people are like that. So they suffer a lot. And simplicity in Ramakrishna's life, we see so many interesting incidents. He was so believed so implicitly, especially Naren, means Swami Vivekananda. He was a student there, Swami Vivekananda. So Sri Ramakrishna knew that Swami Vivekananda was Narayana. He was a part of God who was born in the earth to help people. So for him, anything which Naren would say, that was the gospel truth. It could not be otherwise. So sometimes, Swami Vivekananda did not believe anything so easily. So when the master used to tell of his visions, etc., Swami Vivekananda would openly say, "Are all these are hallucinations. What visions are you talking about? Huh? You see something and you say that it is a vision." Now, when he told Sri Ramakrishna that, Sri Ramakrishna got unnerved. When Naren is telling that, then have I been fooled all along? All these have I, well, it is nonsense. So it is written in the Lila Prasanga, the great master. He would think, well, Narendra is completely devoted to truth. He isn't the one to tell a lie. Also, the scriptures say that no falsehood appears in the mind of a truthful person like him. So can there be any possibility of error in my visions? Again, he thought, I have tested my visions in various ways and I have found that the Divine Mother has never revealed anything false to me. But still, why does the honest Narendra say that my visions are caused by my imagination? Why doesn't he believe them to be true as I describe them? Worried, the master at last asked the Divine Mother for an answer. So for him, there was no problem, you see. Just like we go to meet a friend, he would go to the mother temple, mother in the Kali temple, mother would appear to him, tell him whatever he needed. So he went to the mother and he was reassured when he heard her say, why do you listen to Narendra? He will accept the truth before long. This was how simple the master was. And another very, very interesting incident. There's a Chataka bird in India. The Chataka bird, they say that he never drinks anything except rainwater. Nothing, no water except rainwater. That is believed. So once the master was teaching others that as the Chataka bird drinks only rainwater, it is always looking to the clouds to quench its thirst. Similarly, devotees depend on God alone. Chataka only looks up to the cloud, nowhere else, nothing below. So devotees only look to God to satisfy their needs. He was telling them. Narendra suddenly said, Sir, although it is a common belief that the Chataka bird drinks only rainwater, it isn't true. I have seen these birds drink from rivers and ponds just like the others. Immediately the master got unnerved. What? Does the Chataka bird drink water like other birds? Then this long-standing conviction of mine is proven false. But because you say this, Narendra, he said, I have no doubt. You are a truthful person. You can never say anything which is incorrect. But inside, he was anxious. My God, so many times I've taught people like this, everything is gone. So he says, Master thought, if this conviction of mine is false, then what about other convictions? They may also be false. So he grew very sad. He grew very sad. And one day, what happened was, Narendra was Dakshineshwar. Narendra called the master. Sir, see, I told you, no, Chataka bird is drinking from that pond. See, master came hurriedly. Where it is? Where it is? He saw that and he scolded Narendra, you rascal, this is a bat. It is not a Chataka bird at all. You rascal, you've disturbed my mind for anything. I will not believe you anymore. But he believed him again, nevertheless. So that's the thing. It is written, that's a bat, you rascal. You mistook a bat for a Chataka bird and made me anxious. I won't believe everything you say anymore. So this is some examples of many examples are there. When master had cancer in the throat, Subodhananji, was very fond of tea. Subodhananji was just like the master, very simple. So he said, he had cancer in the throat, Sri Ramakrishna. So Subodhananji is telling, sir, you please drink hot tea. You drink hot tea, it will be cured. Master said, what? Please give me hot tea, give me hot tea. Then fortunately, Brahmananji was there. He said, sir, what are you doing? It will only increase your pain. Don't drink that. So this was our master. So this is simplicity we see in so many people, but simple people suffer. Holy Mother's life, you've seen how much suffering there was. Anyway, so ahimsa. No, sorry, this. अभयम सत्व संशुद्धि ज्ञान योग व्यवस्थिति दानम दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्याय तप आर्जवम. So till arjavam we have done. Now next one is very simple. We know all that. It is taught by everybody. That is ahimsa. Ahimsa. Hinsa is violence. As soon as you add it becomes non-violence. This is a virtue about which we all know. So it is said hinsa means injury. Injuries of various kinds we know. We can hurt a person by word, by deed, even by thought. You think evil of some person, that is injuring a person. So all these are mentioned in the commentaries, but the simple meaning, which we all understand, is not harming anyone by word, thought, or deed. This is a simple meaning. Because, why? Because we are all one. There is only one Atman. So when we harm anybody, we harm ourselves. That is the simple thing. Any force, which is any action, has to have a reaction. So if we throw out bad things, they will come back as bad things only. They will come out as suffering. The result will be suffering. So Swami Vivekananda explains this. He says, every vicious thought will rebound. Every thought of hatred which you may have thought in a cave even, you sit in a cave and think, it is stored up. Those thoughts are stored. They are not going anywhere. And will one day come back to you with tremendous power in the form of some kind of suffering here. You cannot escape. We cannot escape. So he says, if you project hatred and jealousy and other things, they will rebound on you with compound interest. No power can avert them. When once you have put them in motion, you will have to bear them. You have put the wheel in motion. Now it cannot be stopped. It has to go its own way. Then it will. The momentum is finished. It will stop, not before that. Remembering this will prevent us from doing wicked things. That if we think bad about anybody, that will rebound. So these people who are always thinking of harming anybody, always thinking their thoughts, from their faces you can make out. They will never have the expression of calmness or anything or happiness. These people are never happy. If you read their lives, they are living in hell. All these powerful people. This Stalin, if you read, in the end, he became a sort of maniac because he was always worried somebody would kill him. He has harmed so many people. And I've heard the same thing about Putin also, that he's always afraid that some of his own circle will go and kill him. So these people can hardly sleep because they have given only hatred to the world. They will get back only, and it will not end in this life. God knows how many lives they will have to suffer. So these people, in search of all this power, etc., they do all sorts of vile things, and anybody who gives out bad thoughts towards any creature in the world, those thoughts will come back to haunt him. That is the thing. But the opposite side is, if one gets established in this kind of non-injury, then even bad people, when they come in their presence, they will become calm. They will become calm. That is the great power of that personality. So in the Yoga Sutras, Yoga Sutras means the yoga philosophy of Patanjali. It is in the form of sutras or aphorisms. So the whole of Indian psychology is there. If you want to study Indian psychology in detail, we have to study those sutras in detail. But for that, a little knowledge of Sanskrit is necessary. So in those sutras, all these things are analyzed. And regarding this non-violence, the Yoga Sutra says, if one gets pratishtha means established in non-injury, virus tyaga, tat sannidhau, if someone comes in close proximity with that kind of saint who is established in non-violence, Vairatyaga, that person also will give up all enmities in his presence. Swami Vivekananda said that the tiger and the lamb will play together before that great yogi. Of course, we don't know whether this happens. So, in explanation of this sutra, Swamiji says, if a man gets the ideal of non-injuring others before him, even animals which are by their nature ferocious will become peaceful. The tiger and the lamb will play together before that yogi. When you have come to that state, then alone you will understand that you have become firmly established in non-injury. But when I read this, I asked one saintly person whom I was acquainted with. He was a monk of our order only. So I asked him that, sir, it is given like this in the scriptures. But we see that so many people had even harmed those people, like Hriday. Hriday had made Holy Mother suffer like anything. Master also, Sri Ramakrishna also. Once Sri Ramakrishna has gone to commit suicide, he was going to jump in the Ganga because Hriday had tortured him so much. So I asked that Swamiji, that Maharaj, this is said. So these people was God incarnate, what to speak of saints. So how could people like Hriday, still they had this tendency? So he gave the example that in this God's creation, you cannot predict anything. This is the world of Maya. So here also, even these statements have exceptions. So many things are happening here which we cannot explain. This Holy Mother also, in support of this statement, I got a statement of Holy Mother also. That you cannot really, it is sometimes 2 and 2 are not 4 in this world. Because after all, this is a play of illusion. So many things which happen here, we cannot understand. But this is true. For our understanding, it is enough that every action has a reaction. If we commit any improper action, the reaction cannot be good. It has to be bad. That is a simple thing. So, for even let alone spiritual progress, even keeping this in mind, it will help us not to think also any wrong thought towards others. So, ahimsa, then comes satyam. Satya. Satya means truth. Truth. Truth in every form. The whole scriptures, if you study any scripture, or Indian scripture, foreign scripture, anything, everybody has stressed so much on this. Truth, truth, truth in every aspect of our life. Not for 1 minute, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, throughout our life. Be completely transparent and truthful. No hiding anything, no covering up anything. Don't say something, that is a different thing. But don't try to cover anything up. Don't try to deceive others. So, truthfulness is very simply described that speak of things just as they had occurred. If someone asks you something, simple, small, use few words, just describe what had happened. Whatever. And one thing we should be aware of, never speak too much, because I've seen that one who talks unnecessarily is bound to tell a lie sooner or later. Bound to, you cannot prevent. It's such a bad habit. Yak, 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 we go on. And soon the line between truth and falsehood goes away with that. So speak as much as is required, be polite. And if some incident we have to report it as we know. Then even if it had occurred in some way, we won't get the blame. We will just tell what we know. That is, in simple words, this is the definition of truth. So this is so important that Sri Ramakrishna says, truth is the tapasya of Kali Yuga. The tapa we had read, tapa is tapasya, austerity, penance. Truth is the penance of this Kali Yuga. And we should know that no tapasya is simple, no austerity is simple. Austerity means taking pain, accepting pain. Austerity means making sacrifices. So if we really want to stick to truth, we will have to make great sacrifices. Swami Vivekananda said, everything can be sacrificed for truth, but truth cannot be sacrificed for anything. We cannot give up truth. We give up, we will have nothing to hold on to. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, he had given everything to Divine Mother. Take your joy, take your sorrow, take your wealth, take your poverty, everything. So all these dualities he had given up to the Divine Mother. But he did not say, take your truth and untruth and give me pure devotion. He gave up everything, all the dualities. And the world is made up of dualities. Happiness, misery, these things also, all wealth, poverty, all these things go together. So he gave up everything. He asked for only pure devotion. But he did not say, take your truth and untruth. Because when he was asked why, he said, if I give up truth, then how will I hold on to my other vows? I have made vows to the Divine Mother that I don't want anything, I want only you. If I give up truth, then how will I hold on to that vow? Then what meaning will my words have? If the words are not truthful, they are meaningless, absolutely silly. Suppose a person comes to you, you know that fellow is a habitual liar. So he may quote the Quran or the Bible or the Gita, you know that no use, his words have no meaning because he does not stick to truth. So Sri Ramakrishna said, if I give truth also to Divine Mother, what will I hold on to? And every time we see, we have so many years, we have mixed with so many devotees, and most of them don't stick to truth, especially the doctors and lawyers and all that. So I'm very close with one doctor, very nice person, very devoted person. But unfortunately, he does not. He's very lax in this truth business. So he was telling his experiences. So I saw one untruth, how it created so many problems for him. Because to cover up that one untruth, you say another untruth. What to do? He will give, suppose you give a false certificate, someone is very close, some medical certificate is required, he will sign and give. I said, what are you doing? Do you know the problems it can lead to? Just to oblige him, you are giving this wrong statement. So for one of that one thing, so many things may follow. There is no escape. Once you start, you cannot end. So when at the beginning only, if we are not alert, If we are lax, then that untruth may lead to many severe consequences also in our life. So many people have seen, unfortunately, even devotees, they are not very strict. I was completely shocked the first time when I saw that he had a picture of Ramakrishna, etc., in his home, but he was very. But now I have seen that it is a part of we are very lax. We are very lax. But if we are lax in this, no spiritual progress. So Swami Vivekananda says, if I tell a lie or cause another to tell a lie or approve of another doing so, all three, it is equally sinful. If it is a very mild lie, still it is a lie. So jokes is another thing. We are joking, we know that is not. But lying with a view to deceiving others, even if it is a mild lie, it is a lie. And unfortunately for the common man, this is a way of life. They never think twice. They don't even think. Like, suppose you ring up somebody in Calcutta, traffic jams are always there. So you ring up somebody. So suppose somebody was come to 3, the personal experience I'm telling. You were supposed to come at 3. Hey, you fellow, you were supposed to come at 3. Where you are now? I'm just 5 minutes away. He's half an hour away. Maybe he's just started from home. I'm just coming. This is a very normal thing. And problem is, if we keep on doing this, we lose all sensitivity. First time it may appear a little bad. Then go on doing that, it will become a habit. We think nothing of that. अरे चलता है, क्या चलता है? हाँ, नहीं चलेगा ऐसा. It won't work. In the path of spiritual life, it won't work. So, Swami Vivekananda says, truth is, if followed perfectly, it is so powerful. He says, I quote him, I will compare truth to a corrosive substance of infinite power. It burns its way wherever it falls. In soft substances at once, hard granite slowly, but it must. I am sorry, I cannot make myself sweet and accommodating to every black falsehood, but I cannot. I have suffered for it all my life, but I cannot. Then he says, this quotation we should always remember, youth and beauty vanish, life and wealth vanish, name and fame vanish. Even the mountains crumble into dust. Friendship and love, worldly love, vanish. Truth alone abides. God of truth, be thou alone my guide. Everything comes and goes, but we forget that. People are crazy about this beauty, this, that, appearing something else. And for 2 days, 5 days, 10 days of youth, they sacrifice their whole lives. And this simple fact they don't realize, that people are bound to become old. I am banking my whole life on this. When it goes, it is bound to go if you live long enough. Then what will I have? I don't know whether it is true or not, but there was a very famous star in America, Marilyn Monroe or somebody. It is said that she committed, I don't know whether it is true. It is said that she committed suicide because she did not know what she will do once this youth and beauty go away, when she will become old. So all these things are vanishing. Nothing will. If we sacrifice truth, we are doing it for some motive, either wealth or something which we get from the world. But here Swamiji says nothing will remain. Everything is coming and going. So for what are you sacrificing the eternal thing? You're sacrificing God for what? Just to get the praise of others. Those same people will blame you like anything tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So don't give up the one thing which we need to hold on to for anything. And the lives of saints and sages, we just read about truth. Satyam, Vada, Dharmam, Chara, it is all there in the Upanishads. But we cannot know what is truth until we study their lives. Like once incident I told you, Shudiram, Sri Ramakrishna's father, he did not deviate from truth. Although overnight, he was a well-to-do person in Dere, he had a big land. Overnight, he was turned into a beggar. But he did not sacrifice truth. He did not go and tell, sir, oh, sir, okay, I will say, what will you do? And so many people I've talked to, they say, oh, Maharaj, you can talk. You are monks, we are householders. We cannot survive without telling lies. Shudiram survived. He was a householder. God came to his rescue. But we don't have faith in God. We think we are so clever. So we sacrifice truth and think, oh, this is the way. How? Without that, how can we cannot survive? Better not survive. Manage with few things. Manage with a humble job. Manage with ordinary life. Don't have Mercedes, Rolls Royce or anything. But we have made those things the aim of our life. And other things are just a way of getting them. So these things do not seem importance to us. No problem. But for a spiritual person, this is his life. God is his life. And he knows that this panorama, this shadow, this world is just a shadow, keeps on changing. That one thing is the only thing which is worth achieving. So again, I will go to Gyaneshwari, beautiful simile he gives regarding truth. He says, truth is compared to rays of the moon, though may be quite brilliant. Sometimes we know the moon shines very brilliantly. Like in Mayavati, here also it may be. The full moon, we can read a book. It's so blazing. Here also it may be, I don't know. In Vancouver, we never see the moon because it is all clouds. So he says, truth is compared to rays of the moon. Though it may be quite brilliant, they are not harsh. So in our scriptures, it says the thumb rule is Satyam Bruyat. Tell the truth always. But Na Bruyat Satyam Apriyam. Don't tell any truth which may hurt somebody. Unless it is absolutely necessary, unless it is, if you have to deviate from truth. Other than that, don't tell unnecessarily truths which are harmful which hurt anybody. Suppose someone has some fault or suppose something is there, don't go about telling that unnecessarily because you won't be doing any good. So, truth also should be spoken only when it is necessary, and if it hurts somebody and if you are not bound to tell it, don't say. No use hurting anybody. So this is the thumb rule. Satyam bruyat, tell the truth. Na bruyat, don't say which is apriyam, which is not good to hear. Don't say that unnecessarily. So another beautiful simile is there by Sant Gyaneshwar regarding truth. You know, this Swami Vivekananda said that truth is very strong It is corrosive. If it falls on something, it has to produce its effect. So here also, the saint says, see the power of water. He compares truth to water. He says, when water is sprinkled over our eyes, in the morning we all do that, so it soothes our eyes. Okay? But the same water finds its way through huge mountains and valleys. If you release a sufficient quantity of water on top of the Rocky Mountains, maybe, it will find its way down. It will cleave its way through all the maze and all the etc. That kind of power is also there in water. It soothes us, but it is so powerful, nothing can obstruct it. It is bound to find its way right to the ocean, all the rivers. So he says, what a beautiful comparison. The truth is also like that. It soothes us. If you tell the truth, we are safe. We don't have to spend sleepless nights. So, there is a famous author. Have you read this P.G. Woodhouse?
Yeah.
So he says, oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first attempt to deceive. He's something. That Woodhouse is something. He's an absolute master. He's created a new English, a new style of language. So what a tangled web we weave when we first attempt to deceive, because that web will grow more tangled and tangled and tangled. So it is a wonderful year. So it's already 3. So how far have we gone? Oh, sorry. It is 4, yeah. So ahimsa satyam akrodha tyaga shanti apaishunam. So we have done satya, and akrodha is very simple. So I think we can finish this half of the verse if you are not feeling tired or sleepy.
We have a question answer session now.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, so what do you want? Do you want me to carry another 10-15 minutes or? Because otherwise we will not even finish half in 2 days. Yeah. It is very simple. Krodha and all we all know. So, Krodha we all know. Krodha is anger. Again, thanks to Sanskrit, we just add a. It becomes opposite. So, Krodha is anger. Akrodha means absence of anger. Simple as that. Simple meaning. So, here again, commentators are so wonderful. They describe everything. Now, we may say, use the term absence of anger. But then what does it mean? If somebody tells us to go further, we will be at a loss. We cannot describe what is absence of anger. So how beautifully they go very deep, you see. It says, what is absence of anger? It means quenching immediately the anger that arises when one is assailed with harsh language or is maybe even beaten. So when somebody says something bad, there may arise anger in our heart, but tat kalam upashamanam. Tat kalam means immediately. Upashaman means pour water over that anger. Don't allow it to raise its head. Because what will happen, Swami Vivekananda says, that when anger arises, at first, I and anger are separate. I feel I am becoming angry. But what happens when you don't control it? I become identified with anger. Then I forget myself. I don't realize that I am becoming angry. I become anger itself. So scriptures say if you don't want this to happen, if you don't want anger to carry you away, stop it as soon as it starts. So for this, one has to be very alert all the time. That is why all these are things done by habit. We create a habit, make a bad habit, then problem is we don't realize and we become slaves of that habit. So he says, be very alert. As soon as this feeling comes up, stop it. Don't allow it to go further, because it will become so big that it will carry you away. So Sri Ramakrishna was so insistent upon this, like Satyam, like truth. He was very insistent upon this akrodha. So he said, I quote from the gospel, anger is a deadly sin, because you don't know what you're doing. In anger, one person does so much harm to others and himself. Anger is a deadly sin. You ought never to let it carry you away. So, if there is anger at all, it should be gone, coming this moment, going away next moment. It should not stay. So, this statement is in Bengali, very beautifully put. Sadhur rag, joler dag. Jol is water and dag is mark. So there is a water. You put a mark on that. How long will it stay? Vanishes immediately. So sadhu here means good person. Anger of a good person is what? Joler dag, just like a mark made on water. It does not stay long. He does not keep on thinking for 5 years. This person had done this thing to him. I'll see that fellow if I get a chance. So once an incident happened that Swami Niranjanananda was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Now he was a very built, hatta katta. He was a muscular body and all that, great strength. So he was going to Dakshineshwar by boat. And those who have gone to Belur Math or Dakshineshwar, those boats are not very big. 15-20% maybe they can sit. And if some Ganga, there is no big wave. But a big wave comes, those boats will topple over. So those kinds of boat take us from Belur Math to Dakshineshwar or from Bagh Bazar or something like that. So once Swami Niranjananda was traveling in such a boat. So, people are how like people are. Sri Ramakrishna was called the mad Brahmin of Dakshineshwar by many people. They used to make fun of him. So they started in that boat, some people started criticizing Sri Ramakrishna. Niranjananda heard a little. Then he was a angry young man, so to say. Then he got up and he put one foot on both the sides of the boat. He was a very strong person, you see. So with his feet, he started rocking the whole boat. He said, you fellows, if you don't stop, I will capsize the boat here itself. You will fall down. So being fearful, those people stopped. Then somehow or the other, the master heard of it. Either Swami Niranjananda himself told or he heard, God knows. As soon as he heard that, he scolded Niranjananda like anything. Well, you know what you are going to do in a fit of anger? Some people were criticizing, that is okay. So first of all, if they criticize me, what is it to you? How are you getting affected? Hundreds of people will criticize me in Calcutta. Will you go and fight with everybody? Is it possible? Foolishness. And secondly, maybe in a boat, 20% of the 10 were criticizing me. You are going to capsize the whole boat. What about the other people? what great sin would have been there if even one person had drowned. It would just be like killing a person. So he scolded him, vehement, never give way to anger. Then he says another practical thing. Well, foolish people say so many things. Will you go and fight with everybody? Then your whole life will be spent in fighting. Go on fighting. We have come to do some work in this world. And time is short. So what will you do? You'll do your work or you'll go and fighting with others. So very practical advice. So this is another example, and another side I will tell you of this anger. Many times we see that even in the lives of saints and sages, we see anger. Like Swami Vivekananda, when he was in a bad mood, even Swami Brahmananda or other people, they would not dare go to him. He would simply slam and give such a firing. People would, simply, they would unbearable. They used to fear Swamiji like anything. So now we can say that Akrodha is there in the scriptures, and Swamiji was such a great soul. How could he give vent to this anger and all? So solution, first I will ask you, what is the solution? Why do we sometimes see anger in such great spiritual persons also? Tell me.
They're wanting welfare for, sorry.
Okay, one answer, yes.
I think Thakur has already answered in one place where he was arguing. He told man ache kar man. So Swamiji's man is not his ego man. So his anger is not his ego.
Correct.
It's connected to the.
That is correct. And what she also said is correct. But even for correcting others, actually they never become really angry. They never let anger control themselves. It is just like Sri Ramakrishna said that the anger, etc. of such persons are like what? He says there is a rope. You burn that rope. You put a matchstick, burn it. It will look just like a rope, but it cannot bind at all. Just the appearance is there. So in these persons also, only the appearance of anger is there. There are so many incidents. I will just give one incident because lack of time. So I will give an incident of reminiscences of one of Swami Vivekananda's disciples. That is Swami Achalananda. Achalananda, he was later he became the vice president of our order. So he says, I quote him, there was something attractive about Swamiji even when he lost his temper. But surprisingly, his anger would leave within a moment and he would soon behave in his normal, loving way. No one could tell that he had been angry a short while ago. So once what happened, he says, once for some reason, Swamiji became very angry at Swami Nirbhayananda. One junior Swami was there. So he became so angry that Swamiji chased him with a stick in his hand. But Nirbhayananda was a young person. So Swamiji could not follow him everywhere. So Swamiji got exhausted and sat down. As soon as Swamiji sat down, then suddenly Swamiji's anger melted. And on another occasion, this is even more interesting. Achalananji was there witnessing this incident. On another occasion, we were collecting rainwater in bottles for drinking. That time there was no water purifier or anything, nothing. They used to collect rainwater, purest form of water. Now, when they were collecting water, for some reason, Swamiji began to scold two brahmacharis, means two novices. So Achalananji says, when Swamiji began to scold them, I was so frightened that I began to shake. And the water bottle fell from my hand. He became so frightened. So as the water bottle fell, immediately Swamiji's mood changed and he became calm. He said to me, "My boy, you have become nervous. Go to my room, take some medicine, take a little rest." So these kinds of anger are sadhu rag jolet dag. It is just like a mark on water. They are never. So this is akrodha or lack of anger, not being angry, even when there is a sufficient cause for that. Be in control of yourself. Don't become angry. Then we will be able to handle the situation better. If there has been some problem, if you become angry, the situation will only become worse. Because seeing our anger, the other person will also become angry. So it will lead to a shouting match or maybe anything. So Gyaneshwari again, he explains this beautifully. What is this absence of anger? He says, however much water we pour over a rock, it can never become fertile. If you pour water over a rock, shall it germinate? No. Or like pouring ghee over fire that has been completely burnt out. If there is only ashes, you pour ghee, will it ignite? It can never ignite. Similarly, when the condition of the mind is like that, when like it has become like a rock on which water is poured, nothing will happen. Or like ashes on which you pour petrol or something, nothing will happen. Completely unaffected. So such a mind, which also like those things can never become angry, is akrodha. That is perfection. Perfection in anger. Well, it is perfection in calmness. So we see this type of calmness in one disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, who was Swami Sardananda. So when all the other disciples, even Swami Brahmananda, would not dare to go near Swamiji, they would send Swami Sardananda. He had such calmness. We will discuss this again. It is a very, some incidents are very beautiful. About this, Swami Vivekananda also said. So I think we should stop here today and leave for tomorrow. Ahimsa Satyam Akrodha. In this Tyaga, Shanti, Rapeshuram, 3 are there. 3 will take some time, a little time. Although they are small, we can, I think, leave for tomorrow. Shama will require some explanation, so I think we can take up tomorrow. Control of this internal organ. We have to analyze what the organs are and all. So let us do the Shanti mantra. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanastu. So we can just have some chorus. This sheet which had been given, this on the opposite side, there is a very beautiful Sanskrit stotra. It is a very simple tune. Akara Shunyam Trigunar Vihino. বন্ধ করে দিলাম। ও আচ্ছা, ওটা জুম সেশন আছে। For some people, this may be new, but it is very simple to, although it is not so common. So once or twice if you hear them. This is the tune, very simple. And this last line, Sri Ram Krishna, we repeat at each verse. You can just see once you hear it. आकारशून्यं त्रिगुणैर्विहीनम् ओङ्कारवेद्यं परमं प्रपञ्चकारं परिपूर्णरूपं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये तिलेषु तैलं ददनीव सर्पे व्याप्तं च विश्वे परमं निधानं सर्वस्य संस्थं हृदयप्रदेशे श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये धर्मस्य विद्यै सुजनस्य मुक्त्यै दुष्टप्रजाया परिवर्तनाय विश्वे रमणं समतीतमायं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये गीतानन्तं परिपूर्णबोधं सदा समाधौ परिमथचित्तं कृपाविपूर्णं प्रतिताप्तलोकं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये
हृदं सुवर्णं प्रतिपद्य तुल्यं नारीषु मातु समवाप्यभावम् तद्बोधयन्तं च हिताय नृणां श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये गङ्गासुसिक्तं मलिनाम्बुशुद्धं रसेन्द्रसत्तेन्द्रयदेवरूपं पापिष्ठमेवं विपुनादिहस्तं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये पाण्डित्यपूर्णा कविनैव चोभिः यद्बोधयन्ते श्रुतिसारभूतं येनैव तत्त्वं सुगमायुतं तं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये दुर्गेयरूप विश्वद्विभाति सर्वज्ञमूर्ति स्वनतीतशास्त्र देवादिदेवो विनरत्वमातं श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामकृष्णं शरणं प्रपद्ये.
This is a very beautiful small sutra story. We can learn and sing in chorus. Only if I know that. Huh? That one. That also everyone knows. Of course, the script has not printed. So one thing we can do, I will print it today or tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow we can do all together. That will be nice. Okay. This is a very beautiful song. It is very practical for people who are going on, so many duties, etc. So here he says,
that, oh God, Sansare Kaji, which you are all doing. That is a Rabindranath song. So, before going out for work, oh God, I will bow down to you so that you always remember me. You are always with me. And Hridaya Devta, that is, you are the Lord of my heart. So let me be aware of your presence even when I am doing all kinds of work. It is a fantastic song, like all songs of Rabindranath, all of you. As my harmonium has not practiced this, I will just sing with the tantra now. Those of you who know, you can sing. It's okay. Tantra is good. আজি প্রণবি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে আজি প্রণবি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে তুমি আমার নয়নে নয়ন রেখো আমার নয়নে নয়ন রেখো অন্তর মাঝে আজি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে আজি প্রণমি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে হৃদয় দেবতা রয়েছ প্রাণে মনোদেবতা হৃদয় দেবতা রয়েছ প্রাণে মনোদেবতা জানে পাপের চিন্তা মরে যেন করি দুঃসহলাজে আজি তুমি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে আজি প্রণমি তোমারে চলিব না তো সংসার কাজে সকল রবে সারাদিন মান শুনিও নাদি সঙ্গীত গান সবার সঙ্গে যেন অবিরত তোমার সঙ্গ রাজে নিমেষে নিমেষে নয়নে বচনে সকল কর্মে সকল মননে নিমেষে নিমেষে সকল বচনে সকল কর্ম সকল মননে সকল হৃদয় তন্ত্রে যেন মঙ্গল বাজে আজি প্রণমি তোমারে চলিব না তো আমার নয়নে নয়ন রেখো আমার নয়নে নয়ন রেখো অন্তর মাঝে আজি তুমি তোমারে চলিব না সংসার Any other song which we all generally it is popular we can sing Rabindranath. Amar Matha Nato Kore Dao, I think you all know. Of course, Aguner Parshmani also you all know.
वेदना की
ভুলে না যায়
वेदना
বেদনা পায়
ও যদি তোমার দেখা না পাই প্রভু, এবারে জীবনে যদি তোমার দেখা Okay, let me practice this one tomorrow and today and tomorrow we can all sing. Today we can sing this Amar Matha Nato Kore Dao. This Bhuteshan used to love that song. This song. Bhuteshan used to quote
Oh,
this
yes,
song.
beautiful.
It's unimaginable.
Even if I decorate my house, I should know that I achieved nothing. একটু ইংলিশে বলে দাও।
Very simple. Amar Matha Nato, Matha means head. Nato Kore Dao means make it bow down before you. Tomar chorono dhularo tole. The dust of your feet, let it go to my head. Why? Because all my ahankar, all my egotism should be removed by the tears of my eyes. That Sri Ramakrishna said that when we weep for God, the tears of our eyes remove all our egotism. Nijere korite gaurav dan nijere kori. When we try to praise ourselves, we only insult ourselves. And apanare shudhu gheriya gheriya ghure mori pole pole. So making us the center of the universe, all that we do is go round and round and round this world. Nothing we achieve, nothing. সকল অহংকারে তোমার ডোবাও চোখের জলে. So that is, we know that all the অহংকার ডোবাও চোখের জলে. আমারে না যেন পরিপ্রচার. Let me not trumpet on my own name. আমারও আপন কাজ. When we do something good, let us not trumpet our own name. তোমারই ইচ্ছা করো হে পূর্ণ আমারও জীবন। Let your will be done in my activities. যাচি হে তোমারও চরম শান্তি। I crave only one thing. I crave the eternal peace which lies at your feet. পরাণে তোমার পরম কান্তি। Your divine light should enter my heart. আমারে আড়ালে করিয়া দাঁড়াও হৃদয় পদ্ম দলে। Remove my egotism and come in that place in my heart. That is the wonderful song. Of course, the way he has put it is something unbelievable. Tibra will be there. Tibra. That is Tibra. Yeah.
নিজেরে করিতে গুণবগান, নিজেরে কেবলি করিয়া প্রমাণ, নিজেরে করিতে গুণবগান, নিজেরে কেবলি করিয়া প্রমাণ, আপনারে শুধু ঘেরিয়া ঘেরিয়া, আপনারে শুধু ঘেরিয়া ঘেরিয়া, ঘুরে মরি তলে তলে, আমার মাথা নত করে প্রাণে তোমার চরণ ধুলার তলে। আমারে না যেন করি প্রচার, আমার কোন কাজে, তোমারি ইচ্ছা করো হে পূর্ণ, আমার জীবন মাঝে। আমারে না যেন করি প্রচার, আমার কোন কাজে, তোমারি ইচ্ছা করো হে পূর্ণ, আমার জীবন মাঝে। যাচি হে তোমার চরণ শান্তি, পরাণে তোমার পরম শান্তি। যাচি হে তোমার চরণ শান্তি, পরাণে তোমার পরম শান্তি। আমারে আড়াল করিয়া দাঁড়াও, আমারে আড়াল করিয়া দাঁড়াও, হৃদয় পদ্মে আমার মাথা নত করি প্রাণে তোমার চরণ ধুলার তলে। কালে আন ডুবাও চোখের জলে, আমার মাথা নত প্রাণে তোমার চরণ তলে।
Similarly,
তুমি একটা গান গাও।
all Uttara ji and Shashida together.
You told the truth the other day. I'm not seen.
Huh?
I don't want you to lie.
No, no, we want to hear Uttara ji, no, but she won't sing. She won't sing if you don't sing.
Sorry, chant out like so that it can slip down very easily.
You want this contour, any skill you want touch it. If you want this contour.
There should be quickly the song Mother.
What?
Song on Mother.
Another we stand Prakriti Paramount.
Oh.
Another we can sing. So we all after Shamila we sing. You can sing that Jaya Jaya Janani.
কথা বলে দিয়ে যাচ্ছে Thank you.
But her voice will not.
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা না না আমরা সবাই গাইবো
Then
ওর মাইক্রোফোনটা বাহার
হ্যাঁ
ও আচ্ছা
আপনার তো আলাদা
তোমার শাড়িটা দেখিও আমার তো একশো মাথায়
We have a break for now for tea.
Yeah, please. Everybody needs a break.
We will meet tomorrow at 11, and before that we have a vesper service at 6.
You need rest.
So online.
No, you can put here. You can say.
So we'll break for today, and we will reconvene at the vesper service at 6 p.m. as we said. You can join. It will not be on the Zoom link, but there will only those in person. Tomorrow we start at 11 o'clock as usual, where committee has ended today. We will start from there tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. We'll meet again at 11 a.m. tomorrow on the Zoom. Thank you.